The EIA process takes almost about 205 days to complete. The first, starting from submission of application by the investor or the project proponents, and after that, the scoping, screening, and scoping done by the expert committee of EIA, which takes around 60 days, and then again the preparation of preliminary report by the investor or project proponents, and after that the public consultation or public hearing is done by the state pollution control board, which takes around 45 days, and again the update this EIA report by the investor to the expert committee for their comments. And based on the comments of we have discussed that SEA and EAC, SEAC and expert appraisal committee and state expert appraisal committee, they will comment on the this updated EIA reports submitted by the investor. And after appraisal, after their comments, after 15 days, the final decision will be done by the regulatory authority. As I have already mentioned, the final decision will be done by the EIAA and SEIAA, right? Environment Impact Assessment Authority and State Environment Impact Authority. The final decision will be done by them on the but recommendation should be done from the recommendation should come from the expert committee only. Now if we talk about the screening in category A projects, no screening is required. Mega projects, it is understood that it will be needed the environmental clearance, right? In case of category B project, there will be further screening, as I have already mentioned, that by state expert appraisal committee will further screen the categorization into B1 and B2. B1 category, EIA and public hearing will be required for that, and for B2 category there will be no EIA and no public hearing. Screening is a first step of project evaluation. It is, I have already mentioned that the screening is applied to distinguish whether the project is subjected to or excluded from the an EIA. Only for the category B projects and activity determined if they are needed. The screening criteria: a scale of investment, type of development, and location of the development. Okay, now category A projects compulsorily need the EIA. The scrutiny of an application seeking environmental clearance by a state expert appraisal committee for determining whether or not the project or the activity require further environmental studies, form 1 and form 1A. The classify projects as B1 require EIA, B2 doesn't require EIA, as I have already mentioned in the previous slide. Now coming to after screening, there is stage 2 is called scoping. Scoping refers to the process by which expert committee determine detailed and comprehensive TOR addressing all relevant environmental concerns for the preparation of an EIA report. In scoping, it is essential for the essentially the first task in determining the focus of EIA, identification of key impacts, and to draw the terms of reference. Quantifiable impacts are to be assessed on the basis of magnitude, prevalence, frequency, and duration, and non-quantifiable impacts such as aesthetics and recreational value significance is commonly determined through the socio-economic criteria. Now, determine comprehensive TOR addressing all the relevant environmental concerns for preparation of EIA report based on all the information furnished by the applicant in the prescribed application of Form 1 and Form 1A, including a site visit by subgroup of EAC and SEAC only if considered necessary in case. The TOR shall be conveyed within the 60 days from the receipt of Form 1 from the applicant. If not, if the TOR is not finalized and conveyed, then it shall be deemed as the final TOR for EIA study. Now, there is, if the expert after submitting the application by the proponent, this EAC and SEAC, they are not able to, if they have not submitted their comments within the stipulated time, that is 60 days, it is considered that TOR is then it shall be considered as the final TOR for EIA studies. In case of the category hydroelectric power projects, the TOR shall be conveyed along with the clearance of pre-construction activities. The approved TOR shall be displayed on the website of MOEFCC or the concerned SCIA. The applications for EC may be rejected at this stage itself. In the decision together with reason with same shall be communicated to the applicant. Now, coming to scoping protocols, the standard term of reference of a EIA or Environment Management Plan report for project activities requiring EC prepared by MOEFCC, and it is available on its website, right? These standard TOR shall enable to project proponent to commence the preparation of EIA report after successful online submission and registration of the application. EAC, SCAC may stipulate additional term of reference if found necessary within 30 days of acceptance of the application. Now, this is the validity of TOR for submission of EIA and EMP. The validity of TOR for the list of this shows the list of this validity of TOR for different developmental projects. For example, validity of TOR for this projects and activities except River Valley and HEP project for the submission of EIA and EMP report shall be it is validity is for 3 years, and the validity for River Valley projects and hydropower project for submission of EIA and EMP report, the validity is for 4 years, right? Now, public consultation shall be conducted during the validity of TOR. The public consultation conducted after expiry of TOR shall not be accepted by regulatory authority. This is very important point, that public consultation, it should be conducted during the period of TOR. If it is conducted after completion of it, then it will not be accepted, right? In case the proposal for environmental clearance along with EIA and EMP reports based on TOR prescribed is not submitted within validity of TOR or not comply within the above condition, the process shall be started de novo. The already collected baseline data may be reused provided it is not more than 3 years old and duly recommended by the expert committee in their due diligence, right? In any case, any proposal for TOR is delisted for want of additional information within the time period the stipulated by ministry. The same can be listed again after the requisite information is submitted. So this is about the brief about the validity for this EMP and EIA submission. Now, EIA report structure, this is the main, you can say the template also. In this we have to fill the details of your any developmental project. So first is introduction. Project description is very important. A description of environment around the project, especially the 5 to 10 kilometer radius of project. If there is any any this eco-sensitive area, it is very important to mention that in the this description of about the project and environment. Anticipated environmental impacts and mitigation measures of the project, analysis of alternative technology and site, environmental monitoring program, additional studies, project benefits, what are the benefits the locals and the other departments will be getting from these developmental projects, environmental cost benefit analysis and environmental management plan, violations if applicable, summary and conclusion, then disclosure of the consultants engaged in this particular project. Now, coming to public consultation, it is one of the very important, again in the clearance process, it is one of the very important process of this in public consultation, which was started after EIA notification 2006. So public consultation, all the category A and category B1 projects of the activity shall undertake public consultation, which has exempted under few cases. So public consultation, indirect responses written display in the website office and the hearing at site or close proximity of the local affected person and direct public involved in this the public they all should be mentioned in the and prior the public consultation there should be news in the local newspaper as well, so that locals can participate in the public consultation process if they have any issues related to the proposed developmental project, so that they can share their views and so it can be addressed in the further process, EIA process. Now coming to public consultation, two components are there in public consultation. Component one, conducting public hearing at the site and its close proximity, as we have already discussed, district wise, for ascertaining the concerns of local affected person. And component two, obtain responses in writing from other concerned person having a plausible stake in environmental aspect of the project activity, as we have already discussed in previous slide. Now, public consultation requirements: a minimum notice period of 30 days, one major national daily, and in one regional vernacular daily official state language it should be there. Whereas the newspaper do not reach, the authority should, where the newspaper do not reach, authority should arrange to inform the local public about the public hearing by other means of communication. The entire proceedings to be videographed. A statement of issues raised by the public and the comments of the applicant shall also be prepared in local language or the official state language, as case may be, in the English and annexed to the proceedings. Display of minutes of public hearing at Panchayat, Zilla Parishad, offices of District Magistrate and State Pollution Control Boards to display it on website as well. Now, presiding over public hearing, the district magistrate and deputy commissioner or his representative, uh, not below the rank of additional district magistrate, assisted by the representative of State Pollution Control Board, shall supervise and preside over the entire public hearing process. The attendance of all those who are present at the venue shall be noted and annexed with the final proceedings. No quorum required for starting the proceedings, right? Now, after public consultation, applicants shall address all the environmental concern expressed in public hearing, make appropriate changes in the draft EIA. Final EIA report shall be submitted by the applicant to the concerned regulatory authority for appraisal. So next step is appraisal. Detailed scrutiny by the expert appraisal committee of application and other document like final EIA report, outcome of the public consultation, including public hearing proceedings submitted by the applicant to the regulatory authority concerned for grant of environmental clearance. Next is stage 4 appraisal. The detailed scrutiny by EAC and SCAC, as I have already mentioned. Documents like final EIA report, outcome of the public hearing should be included and submitted by the applicant to the concerned regulatory authority for the clearance, for the grant of environmental clearance. Appraisal of all project or activities which are not required to undergo public hearing or public consultation or submit an environmental impact assessment report. I was discussing the appraisal for all the projects or activities which are not required to undergo the public consultation or submit environmental impact assessment report, that is category B project, shall be carried out on the basis of prescribed application form 1 and form 1A. Any other relevant information, site visit wherever the same is considered, right? Now, EAC and SCAC shall recommend to the regulatory authority concerned either for grant of the prior environmental clearance on stipulated terms and conditions or rejection of application for prior environmental clearance together with reason for the same. Now, grant or rejection of the environmental clearance. The regulatory authority shall consider the recommendation of EAC and SCAC, as I have already mentioned in previous slides, that on the recommendation of EAC and SCAC, it conveys the regulatory authority that conveys their decision to the applicant. The regulatory authority shall normally accept the recommendation of expert committees. In case where it disagrees with the recommendation of expert committee, whether it is central or state, the regulatory authority shall request reconsideration by the central or state expert committee. After reconsideration, irrespective of the view of expert committee, the decision of regulatory authority concerned shall be final. If the decision not granted within the stipulated time, the applicant may proceed as if the environmental clearance sought for has been granted or denied by the regulatory authority in terms of final recommendation of expert committee concerned. Right now, deliberate concealment and the submission of false or misleading information or data which is material to screening or scoping or appraisal or decision on the application shall be make application liable for rejection. The rejection of an application or cancellation of the prior environmental clearance already granted shall be decided by the regulatory authority after giving personal hearing to the applicant and the following principles of natural justice. Now, coming to validity of environmental clearance. Once environmental clearance is done, the validity 10 years in case of river valley projects, 30 years for the mining projects, 5 years in case of all the other projects and activities. And area development projects and township, the validity period shall be limited only to such activities as may be responsibility of the applicant as a developer. Now, post environmental clearance monitoring. The mandatory of post environmental management to submit half yearly compliance report in respect to the stipulated prior environmental clearance terms and conditions. We have the project operating agencies, they have to keep on submitting the report of post environmental clearance monitoring as well. This is the brief methodology listed for the environmental clearance preparation of submission of EIA report along with the along with the public hearing proceeding for the environmental clearance. These are the and I have already mentioned that report should include all the possible impacts on environmental conditions, be it air, water, noise, health and traffic. It should include all the information on related impacts. Now, coming to the amendments, again there are different amendments which was made after notification 2006. Okay, now 2006, the main notification I'll not discuss in detail. If we talk about the main biomedical waste treatment facilities in 2015, and the certification of applicability of environmental clearance for solid waste management, treatment and processing facilities in 2017. And these are some other amendments which were made in under EIA notification 2006, such as sustainable sand mining management guideline in 2016. And there are quite a lot of amendments which were made after 2006 EIA notification. Now, coming to loopholes and deficiencies in EIA notification. Now, what are the loopholes and deficiencies? First, in stage 1, that is screening. The based on information form 1 and form 1A supplied by investor, the pre-feasibility report and conceptual plan, no guideline or requirements, thereby no need to address the environmental issues. So if there is no guideline or no requirements, if thereby no need to the environmental issues, then what will happen? The many projects, they are getting environmental clearance, and after the construction of project, it has been the detrimental effects on environment, surrounding environment, and the quality of environment has been deteriorating day by day. Now, in second stage, that is scoping, no public participation in second process. Local knowledge about the environmental concern should be investigated as it is not given consideration. no public participation. Public participation is very important process in EIA, because the locals where project has to be built, they have the more knowledge about the particular area than the officials who are visiting occasionally there for the project purpose. So therefore public participation is very essential in this, in the EIA process, which is lacking in the scoping process. The next is strict timeline. No, not a continuous process. It is not a continuous process. It is time bound, not a, so there is no continuous monitoring that whether the project operating agency, whether they are following the environmental guidelines that has been mentioned in EIA report or not. So it should be there. The biased in the securing favorable TOR for investors and access to TOR is limited. This is the main problem. The TOR, if it is TOR should be available for all the public. It should be available in public domain, so that if someone feels that, if feels to submit the comment or their feedback, they can be easily this they can be able to easily submit and give their feedback through different this platform. So it should be the access of TOR should not be limited. Next is public consultation. The unclear words and definitions. Public consultation, though public consultation has become mandatory after EIA notification 2006, but it is still unclear and it is bit ambiguous. It can be avoided if regulatory agency feels it's difficult to conduct. According to this EIA notification 2006, though it is mandatory, but it can be avoided if regulatory agency feels it is difficult to conduct. If developmental project is going on at one place, how it can be difficult for any regulating agency to conduct the environmental public consultation? So it is the prime most important process, which should not be avoided. Owing to local situation, conduct it owing to local situation. What may the situation be, but public consultation should be mandatory for all the projects. So this is one of the major loopholes. A local affected person having a plausible stake in their impacts of project, this is again the very cause of concern. Public consultation shall ordinarily have two components that we have already discussed, the two components of public consultation in previous slides. The other concerned person having plausible stake shall submit responses only in writing. The hearing shall be conducted conducted at the site or in the close proximity. Next is no quorum required for holding public consultation. Again, this is one of the major issue or loophole in this EIA notification. The huge list of exemption of certain type of projects that cause deep environmental impact without justification. Weak wording that widens the scope of these exemptions. Tight timeline, 45 days from the time requested by the investor. Again, this is the major problem. Limiting access to the information. Only summary of EIA reports are made available, not full EIA with TOR from the scoping process. Therefore, the only, if you see the website, you will get only brief summary of EIA, that even doesn't mention the negative implications of EIA. This is one of the major loophole in EIA notification. The EIA should be whole EIA report with the term of reference should be available in the public domain for their comments and their suggestions. The confidential informations need not to be disclosed in the summary of EIA. If summary, as I have already mentioned, if summary is there, if summary will emphasize only the positive impacts of EIA, positive impacts of any developmental project, but it should emphasize, it should describe both positive as well as negative impacts. If there is any negative impacts, we should they should also address the mitigation measures, how to mitigate that. It is not possible of any developmental projects to not have any negative impacts. If negative impacts is there, they should be able to state the mitigation measures, different mitigation measures in a summary itself. So publicity, use of internet as the main means, no definition on how publicity should be carried out. It is again the major concern, cause of concern in this EIA notification in 2006. Now coming to erosion of constitution of panel conducting public hearing, EIA notification mentions only district magistrate and representative of state pollution control board, right? In EIA 19, earlier EIA notification 1994 had a district collector, representative of state dealing with the project, representative from the panchayat, senior citizens from the area, and representative from the state pollution control board. Whereas after in the EIA notification, only the district magistrate and representative from the state pollution control board will be there, but representative from the panchayat, senior citizens, which are more I think which plays the major role in the environmental this public hearing. So they are not been considered in this EIA notification. Again, this is one of the major loophole. Now coming to appraisal. In appraisal part also, there is no public participation. Arguments between regulatory authority and expert committee made known only to the investor, not to the public. So again, this is very important. Whatever the expert comments from the expert committee or recommendation from the expert committee, whether it is in the favor of project or in the and not in favor of project, it should be in the public domain, so that they can the local public and local stakeholders, they can also have the access to these documents as well. The iron hand given to the regulatory authority to make final decision, expert committee opinion can be disregarded. In this, the expert opinion committee, as I have already mentioned, that they can consider the expert opinion of expert committee, but if they think that the opinion of expert committee is not correct, or they are regulatory authority thinks that the recommendation from the expert committee is against or in the favor of this any particular project, they can change, they can request again expert committee to give their opinion. And after their opinion, what may the opinion be, they can decide whether to issue the environmental clearance or reject the EC of any project. The deemed clearance, in case decision is not given within the prescribed timeline, applicant may proceed as thought clearance has been granted or denied as per this notification. Now, after discussing the details about the EIA notification 1994, amendments 2006 and its amendments, as I have already mentioned in the introduction section, that the draft notification of EIA, it is still available for the public comments and feedback. The Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India proposed draft EIA notification on 23rd March 2020, in the earlier last year. On the draft EIA notification is intended to replace the previous notification implemented since September 14, 2006. The draft EIA notification is intended to promote transparency and streamline compliance, as it integrates numerous notification amendments, office orders, circulars, court and tribunal directions since last EIA notification in 2006, which is currently in force. Among the major departures from the existing regulations is the removal of several activities from the purview of public consultation. A list of projects has been included under the category B2, exempted from the requirement of which is exempted from the requirement of EIA under clause 13 and subclass 11. So that how this these are the list of this projects in the detail that has been exempted, that had been put under the category B2 project, which does not require the clearance, right? The project in this list are under existing norms identified on the basis of screening by the expert appraisal committee, rather than being exempted through listed in the schedule. Also, the coal and non-coal mineral prospecting, the solar photovoltaics projects do not need prior environmental clearance or permission in new scheme. So, what are the apprehensions? there are many apprehensions on this draft notification of EIA from the different experts around the country. There is apprehension that exemption from the EIA and public consultation for listed B2 category activity and expansion and modernization project will seriously affect the environment, since there will be since these will be carried out without oversight, combined with new provision for post facto environmental clearance. This would further weaken the protections. Moreover, the notice period for public hearing has been cut from the 30 to 20 days. This will make it difficult to study the draft EIA report, more so when it is not widely available for available or provided in the regional language. Similarly, for the project modernization and expansion, the norms of notification 2020 are liberal, with only those involving more than 25% increase requiring EIA, over 50% attracting public consultation, right? Under the proposed change, the project proponent need to submit only annual report on the compliance with condition compared to existing two. The move is seen as retrograde because because this control and auditor journal found in 2016 that the deficiency in semi-annual compliance reporting was between 43% and 78%, while the failure to comply with conditions ranged from 5 to 57%. The non-compliance were encountered particularly in the river valley and hydropower projects and the thermal projects only. Now coming to the draft EIA notification includes reporting by the public of violation and non-compliance. Instead, the government will take cognizance from the violator promoter, government authority, committee, or regulatory authority. Such projects can then be approved with the conditions including remediation of ecological damage, which again will be assessed and reported by the violator and not as unconnected agency, although Central Pollution Control Board guideline must be used. Now, how does the draft notification compared with the global norms, right? The EIA rule must meet the requirement of precautionary principle of avoiding harm and intergeneral equity. The European Union, as the evolving example, has modified its processes in accordance with the Aarhus Convention 1998, which stipulates that the environmental rights are human rights, and environmental rights and human rights are linked. The present generation owes an obligations to future generations. Sustainable development can be achieved only through the involvement of all the stakeholders. Government accountability and environment protection are connected. The interaction between the public and public authorities must take in a democratic context, and the European Union directive of EIA includes climate change and biodiversity concerns. Now, these are the key change proposed of issues, current position and change proposed by the draft notification 2020 that we have already discussed. I have shown it in tabulated form. So thank you so much.